All right. Welcome, everybody, to a very exhausted end of day show with the Vamp. I was up until like 5 a.m. last night as the sky was falling. And yeah, we're all online. We're in the VIP group, and everybody was like, we're all good. We're just watching the price fall out of the sky. A lot of great trades were made last night, a lot of easy money. We did really good. Today, it's just been another long day. I was up, probably got about 5 hours of sleep. So I brought in the man, the myth, the legend, the Big Chone himself. Say what's up to your fans, Big Chone.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for having me, Vamp. Happy to be here. Lots of interesting, exciting price action, best 24 hours. Heading into the monthly close, definitely think August will be a very interesting month of trading ahead of us.
Wow, what do we got? We got one more day, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, we got a couple more hours left, actually.
Yeah, that it.
Technically, this is the August daily candle, right?
Yes, yeah, wow, that's crazy. So what we got? Yeah, so tomorrow is the last. It's July 31st. So tomorrow's the last day. So we will do a monthly close tomorrow. Wow, first, I think this will be my very first monthly close ever. So it'll be a good show. All right, let's just start off here. Kind of, excuse me, kind of gonna just recap. Let's let Chonis take this for a second and just kind of give you his recap of what happened here. Go for it, Chon.
Yeah, listen, for it seems like for weeks we were holding, kind of in our over 8,000 area. Every time we dipped below 8,000, if you bought the dip, you were rewarded. Every time we were in kind of an oversold RSI situation on lower time frames, the 30 minute, the half hour, if you bought those oversold conditions, you were able to basically to sell and make a nice profit more at those higher prices there. So that was working and very effective basically up until, kind of last night into this, well, depending upon where you were, but after yesterday's candle close and basically heading into through today's candle pricing, we've clearly had a major sell-off. Now, I was looking for basically support at this area here because whenever you break a major resistance level that has held the price under for basically so long, basically since we broke under it around the early part of June. Once you break that, I like to see some sort of a back test or a retest of it as support. And sure enough, right at around 76.50 area, give or take a few dollars, that's where it was able to find support there. And then through the day, we were basically able to kind of, try and climb higher out of that. It seems we hit our low for the day a little earlier in the day and had kind of a nice ending to the day. I kind of like this end of day, little pop we had. A lot of it is based on some oversold conditions we were looking at, on the hourly and a few indicators in the 4 hour that suggest we could be at least rounding off in a bottoming area here, especially in the 4 hour candle. I really do like the wick that we put in showed that basically there was some buying action, but our volume still remains a little bit suspect here as to how strong this current area of support truly is.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, so just to confirm, for me it is not the end of the month, but yeah, apparently for this UTC candle, it is the end of the month. Let's bring up the monthly candle and we'll have Chone give us his take on the monthly candle here real quick. Give me a second. And there we go. All right, go for it, Chone. Thunks on the monthly. Go ahead. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see right there.
All
Perfect. Yeah,
right,
it
go.
really depends on where you are in the world. Definitely depends on when the month starts. So yeah, listen, this is a nice green candle. I mean, where in terms of the body of the candle, we have engulfed the previous month's body, so it's a positive sign here. But let's face it, that upper wick is pretty fierce there. It's at least twice the size, it seems, of our bottom wick. We clearly found strong resistance at the top there. At least when we hit your blue. What EMA is that? I'm not entirely sure.
7MA. The 7MA is
Okay,
holding the
7MA.
price down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's clearly showing is still pretty significant as well. I think the 200 MA as well has been really acting as strong resistance as well. So, that was clearly what stopped out the bullish momentum we had through July. The volume was nice. The A lot of this push, though, we have to acknowledge was really that ETF pump we got kind of mid-month that kind of took us to that next level over $8,000. A lot of that kind of bullishness feels like it's subsided since we topped out around $8,500 here. So August is going to be a really important month in terms of setting the table for how things will play out into the fall, or at least into September. It's all depending upon where you are in the world. So this is a kind of interesting thing here that the month felt a lot better like a week ago. And we really gave a lot of that bullishness that we had felt about a week ago back as we closed the month out. I would have liked to have seen a stronger ending to July. And this just clearly shows that we were still in this bear market. We were still in this downtrend. And the volume this month will basically show which direction we can push forward. If the ETF positiveness, I guess you could say, if that keeps on helping, but we've seen a negative answer or any kind of negative FUD that's ETF related really does put downward pressure on the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So, my take on the monthly candle here is you see that we came up. This is acting somewhat like the daily 128 line for me. So, I'm looking at this, getting the same exact kind of feel I do with the 128 line. That is a line that does need to be respected. Let's pull this down. We're going to run this down to 3 hours and. All right, I'm sorry, 3 days. So we're going to pull up the 3-day candle here. 3-day candle still in the works. You can see our support down here, 7,500 and change. Let's run down to the daily. Take a look at our daily close here. Our daily close candle. To me, this is a bearish candle, first of all. Second is when I look at this candle, I do look at we're making a rising wedge. Now, in our group, in the chat group, you can also see that here we get the correlation of the resistance right here. You see this dotted line that comes across my cheat sheet line. So came down, ran right into it, and got a little bit of a bounce off it. Now, the funny part is in our members area, this has been, if you have been watching our chat here, and if you've been watching the live stream, you'll see that I have had this listed as this is a strong bounce zone for quite a while. Right now, the issue is taking out this strong bounce zone, right, throws you into two separate options, right? If you break out of this puppy right here, okay, I see that you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna test it. And now I'd like to point out, I said I was looking for a bounce up here that aligned up with the bubble charts. Never happened, right? We then said that the support, if this did not hold, right, and this is where a lot of our members got in. This is where we were all like, all right, here we go. If you got in right here where I said this support broke, when this final support broke, you're sitting really pretty. You're in an amazing trade right now. You made some good money on this short play, and you're sitting good, right? Now, I am looking for this to come back up. We have now flipped this zone right in here that was support into resistance, right? And I still do not like where we're at as a true support zone, right? So I don't really like this area. I don't feel comfortable with this because A, we didn't land on anything specific other than this historic zone. So we landed in a historic zone. Right, we bounced off the historic zone. That's great, but I want to land on something. I like to land on some. I want to come down here, and I've said this. I want to test this right here. If you guys look back on my chart about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, or what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now 8 days, if not 9 days old. I said I wanted to come down here and test this again. And here we are. My lowest target, which was right here, was 7,585. We so far we have missed it. I'm 100 points off, right? I mean, I missed it by 100, right? That's not bad. When now I put this up here when we were up here, so it's not bad, for a 400 point drop to miss it by 100. It's still not over yet. But there is good news. So the good news is we came down here and we found this very strong support line on the bounce zone on the bubble chart. And it is doing its damnedest to hold here. Okay, it's really doing its damnedest to hold right here and give us a bounce right here. Now, if you look, there's no bull runs right here. So this is not a very bullish area to bounce from here, right? So if you come down into this area, that's all these are. So you can see you come over here. Let me go grab this. See, there's a bounce. Oh, purple. Sorry, don't want to confuse anybody. If you aren't already confused enough by my damn bubble charts. All right, here we go. There's another bounce, right? So there you go. You have multiple bounces come down in here. These are coming from the top side. They come down, they bounce off. Coming from the top side, bounce off. So you do have multiple bounces that have occurred right where we're at. Okay, so we do have, we have some pretty good support right here for a good bounce. Now, if this breaks, it's actually really bad news. Okay, so with the next catch zone, excuse me, the next catch zone is right there. So your next catch zone is you've got another zone to get caught in, which is going to come down, and you're going to run right into this area right here, right? You're going to run right into this. But listen, this is not a good area. This is not a happy place down here. Okay, this is not a bullish happy place right here. This is very bad. Now you've got a lot of bounces in here. You've got a lot of rejections in here. But you've also got a lot. This is not an area that's confluent with positive bounces. This is a bad bounce area. This is wicked. We got to be really careful playing any long plays in here. If you are playing long plays in here, you should be considering them scalps only. Okay. So
Yeah, I agree. I think the sevens, we blew through them kind of so quickly on the way up. It seemed like we were in the 6,000 range for such a long time. And then it seemed like we jumped from, 6,800 almost to 7,800 in a very short amount of time here. So there isn't a lot, I agree, there's not a lot of supports, really strong supports in that 7,000 area. I think short term, there's a little bit of a bullish, still oversold sentiment that I could see maybe another $100 or so upward momentum just to press a couple, upper resistance areas that we just broke through. But now 7,850 basically is really strong resistance. There's a lot happening in that area now that you wanted to hold that because it did allow Bitcoin to bounce twice, really nicely at around 78 even, and then like a couple days later at 78.55, both produced nice bounces. So once that support broke, now we're back to resistance zone. But another $100 pop to retest that, I don't think is out of the question. But I agree after that, if we don't get some kind of a follow through, 7,500, there's so many things still pointing to that direction as our kind of next area of support. And also, I know, I like to use the Bollingers, and on the daily, the middle BB is right at $7,500. So there's a lot of history there, as well as the overall price history that we've had at $7,500 area there. So if we don't hold this area here, I think there's even, I wouldn't say there's stronger support, but I think that's the next level of confluence that will hold the price and allow it at least to bounce. And then any kind of bounce, we're now having to reassess how strong the resistance would be if we don't hold 76.50, basically, which was our bottom yesterday.
that's right. So I just want to point out something on this chart that you might find interesting also, okay? So here was our 11.8 top, right? Our 11.8, 11.6 top, correct? Right? Here was our last 9,900 10K top. And then here we are over here at 8,500 and change, right? Now, every time we've had a double top action here, okay? A very, at least something close to a double top action, okay? Now, I want you to notice that coming back over here to the 11.8 and 11.6, this RSI level was lower, okay? You then got higher RSI with this next 9K, right? So we have much higher RSI up here. And we've actually peaked out again higher with a lower. So we continued to make lower, higher, lower, low. We're making lower price action. Let me do tongue twist. We're making lower price action with higher RSIs. And to me, that is bearish. So we are making lower price with higher highs on the RSI. Now what that does, that just gives us farther to fall, right? And remember, the place you need to be wary of is not the tops, it's in this core here. That's where these ugly falls come from. You know what I'm saying? These ugly falls come here. Now, check this out. Here we came down this last time, and you see here we came down out of that 11.8 peak. Look at how perfectly this almost lines up, right? This first part right here, this first little bounce, lines up almost exactly, right? So we're almost exactly on par with this right here, with this point right here. We then bounced out of this, got our second top, and then fell out, right? Now, take a look at the second one. So we came over here, came down, we finally, now this never really got down this low. This is definitely substantially lower. And we got down here, and then we did get this bounce back up, and then it finally fell out again. So like I am looking for this bounce. I still think we have one more bounce to give us a possible little oomph back up before before this show hits the floor. Now, it is extremely important right now. If you look back into your previous price action, right? You're watching where our lows were. So here, look at the 50 MA. You see the 50 MA right here? So the 30 MA was broken. It held the price. The 50 MA was never broken until that 50 MA was destroyed. That show was over. Same thing. Look at where the 50 MA is. Now, we never came down to test this 50 MA, the second bump, but once we ran through it, that was over, right? The show was basically over here, okay? So we've got a lot of support with the 200, and then you've got that support again with the 50. So if you look at my targets, the way my targets are laid out, and let's bring this chart back up, right? So you'll see how, hold on a second, you'll see how my joke, come on, there we go. You'll see how my MAs also come over here and line up on my Ichi. So if you come over here, your Ichi, you see that if we break this 7,600 range right here, 76, 75 range, that your next target is going to be 7,300, right? You can see that if you come over here, here is your 76, right? Right on your 200. Your next stop on your 50 would be 7268. So there's your support there. Let's go over to the daily. Take a look at your support in the daily. Same thing. There you go. Now it's a little lower on the daily. So the daily's got a little bit lower price action on it. And then let's go over and take a peek at your weekly. All right. So your weekly has got, you don't want to talk about it. Let's just not talk about the, let's not talk about the weekly. Let's not talk about it going down that far. So my thing that I'm watching out for right now is I just think you all need to be aware that breaking this resistance right here, this support, breaking this support, you have got to hold the you got to hold that the 200 MA and or the you got to hold the 200 MA and or the there it is, the 128 and the 100, right? My that's my target. I want to test this. We come down there, we test this, we get a bounce off. If that's what happens, if we get a bounce off here and a nice clean bounce off, I'm going to be looking for some kind of a nice, at least some sort of a little bit of a run up. Give me something, tease me, right? Tease me a little bit, give me a little FOMO. But I think that the 128 day needs to be respected. This is my yellow brick road. We got to stay over this, and we're so close.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and the thing is about we want to see that follow through. It almost feels like, I mean, listen, whenever I see crypto Twitter being like really in agreement of bullishness, 85,
Woohoo!
8600, seems to be a
Moon.
lot of that heading into the end of the month here. And I mean, it was, whenever there's a consensus on crypto Twitter, I'm always suspect. And sure enough, the trend seemed to be different today. I think this move kind of took a lot of people by surprise because of how yesterday's move was bought back up, and that was kind of this last fake out of no, it's still, you're still fine if you buy the dip in this move here, because literally since we started to pop back, at the early part of July, that was a very successful trade. But now we are clearly, after we broke that 7,800 area, moving to a different kind of dynamic. And as this week goes on, and as we start the week of August, I think a lot of news might be what could drive a lot of the price action in Bitcoin. A lot of the ETF stuff, I think, was really important for July's price action heading into August. It seems to be very susceptible and news based. But the volume that we had seen come through, especially the billions, we had broken 7 billion finally after not hitting that over a 24-hour period. We topped out at 300 billion in the overall crypto market. So now that we had found a resistance area at $300 billion. That was very, very strong. And now we're basically down to 277 billion. So these areas of resistance still remain strong. Bitcoin's dominance at 48%. I mean, we are approaching almost 50%, which is amazing considering how low we were, not too long ago at around 36%. And as it continues to suck a lot of that momentum and money from the altcoins.
Yeah, and I would just like to point out one more time, that the ETFs, just like Chonis saying, there was a lot of positive news that came out with the ETFs. These next couple days are going to be really. I feel the next week to 10 days. Let's just call it 7 to 10 days are going to be very dangerous trading time for anybody, long and or short, simply because the ETF news that's coming out. This is actually not going to be a very trade friendly. I feel that there's going to be a lot of luck involved, and that I hate taking TA out of the equation, but I feel it's better to be lucky than good right now, right? And I feel that the people who have put themselves or are putting themselves in a good position for whatever announcement comes out, they're going to be the ones that are going to be walking out of this with a nice little fat payday, and that's great for you. It's really good, but I feel that at this point, there's just not. There's nothing good right now that I feel is like a home run trade other than the weekly setup that we have coming. And that's, today's Tuesday. Tuesday? Is today Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate that. Happens once a week, right? So,
Well, actually, it's the Wednesday candle again. Yeah, it's
Wednesday
still
candle.
confusing.
There you go. Yeah, still confusing. So we've still got we still got a bunch of days ahead of us. We got a bunch of hours. We got a bunch of trading ahead of us. But I would just like to point out, getting all the way back up to that weekly close, right, is gonna take an oomph. Right, it's gonna take a lot of oomph. And so this was my limited top side up here, right? This was it. I really had this up here was my limited top side. And look at this. This just keeps dropping. So now I just got to take this and I got to move this down right here because this all keeps dropping right here, right? Because,
Mm.
it's just getting harder because now that resistance level we have above us. And let's go over and we're going to peek at our weekly, right? So let's peek at our weekly over here and let me rip this off. Okay, so our 70, look at 84. 8435. I think I have these all laid out too on my MAs. I think they do. Yeah, see, look at this. So you'll see I do try to line up those MAs with my resistance line. Your top is 8,500. So if we did get a nice big bounce back up here, which is possible. It's totally possible. I mean, everything is possible in the world of crypto right now, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That we could go up and see 8,500 again. Go ahead, Chong.
Yeah, I mean, we have found support currently on this area here. The thing that could take us to 8,500, I just don't see it yet as a chart play. I see it as a more of a news-driven event, because we are still correcting from this previous really nice July we just had here. I think this cycle is has basically reverted to its kind of correction cycle now. Major areas again on the daily, $7,500 is really where you need to hold to kind of stop the bleeding. And I can totally see that holding because of how, you know, really how that area has been such a very strong support area, moving forward here. But again, as we discussed earlier, I think will drive a lot of this market here. Having started the weekly chart, basically the past couple days haven't been that great, but maybe you could argue the rest of the week we could put in a nice bottom wick. It is possible that we have, put the bottom in on this week here, just because I like how the Bollinger of the middle BB on the weekly chart is now acting as support where it was a very strong resistance, and it held right again at 76.50. So a break of 76.50, and now I start to get worried. Now I start to fear that that really strong support has failed, and then 75 to as low as 73 area, which you mentioned earlier, is definitely in play. There's still a lot of money out there. I don't see this cratering or falling through the floor anytime soon. I think August will have some volatility, some interesting moments being oversold, maybe overbought, lower timeframes, higher timeframes. But the bullishness that we kind of lost as we ended the month of July, August needs to prove itself by having some sort of a reason to kind of regain that. And to me now, 8,000 seems like a real struggle to get back up to and retest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And looking at this weekly candle, I'm just going to give you a quick warning shout here, okay? So, looking at this at this daily candle, I would warn everybody that staying in this zone and playing in this zone for the next 5 days sets up an extremely bearish candle. Okay, you're going to set up an extremely bearish inside bar and or bearish harami candle, and you all need to be very very wary of that, right? This could play out kind of like like Chon says, in a little sideways action here over the next few days, just messing with people's emotions. And and then just if it does not break out lower than this, I would look. This would be worse to me staying in this range right here than just going ahead and just getting this drop over with. Just give me the drop down
Mm.
here to 6,900, catch me, and then let's talk about a run up, okay? But staying like this is extremely bearish, and it would create a bearish outlook for the weeks to come. Setting up
Mm.
this bearish Harami candle, it would point me to lower lows.
Yeah, and this bullish move has allowed a lot of our MAs and EMAs to allow really nice bull crosses, right? And now, as the price falls, kind of the opposite effect can begin to happen with a lot of bear crosses, maybe eventually setting up if the price can't stabilize in this area.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's pull ourselves down here. Yeah, falling out. So we're on the 200 day on the 200 MA on the 2 day. There is the here we go. There's just the daily. I just gotta warn everybody that it's so detrimentally important to hold this range. Anything down here would be an absolute catastrophe. Now, I'm not looking at getting down here and testing 6,900 without some kind of a bounce right here, right? Or, I mean, we've got two bounce targets, right? We got 7,300 and we got 7,600. Now, for me, going below the 128 is extremely extremely bearish, okay? And I'm going to say it one more time. Going below the 128 day line is extremely bearish. All right, so you've got to remember in your trading, if this doesn't hold, this is not good. You are going to be looking at 72, 7,300 bucks, and this would almost signal an almost guaranteed demise of the price back down to the 6Ks for me with this not holding. All right, Chone, let's just kind of whiz through this real quick, all right, and see what we see on these on this daily timeline. And I'm gonna just grab a fresh chart, as long as my computer doesn't crash on me and I don't have to kill somebody. All right, I think this is it. Here it is. Okay, so we're gonna use this chart right here. Okay, so we're going to use this chart right here, and we're going to just help you guys find everything that you need to find for these next couple days of trading, okay? So we do have our target, right? Chone, what's your next lower target right here, buddy? Not that it isn't helping because the price is falling out of the sky.
I know, right? Well, okay, so there's a lot of things that have to do with like psychological in Bitcoin and stuff. A lot of areas, 10,000, 6,000. So obviously 7,500, just because how it fits in with so many other areas of support that are currently right around there in the next basically 12 hours, if the price does dip there. I'm still looking for this area to hold a little bit longer. We bottomed at 76.29, about 76.30, let's say, before the daily candle closed. We had a nice look.
Nope. Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, we just lost Chone. Tell me it's not me. Oh! Son of a bitch! How can you be crashing on me? There's nothing. All right, you're back. Oh, you're back. Oh, man. How in the hell does this thing crash on me? Oh, man. Oh, man.